Coral bleaching is the loss of colour from the normally bright and colourful coral reefs. Corals have a symbiotic relationship with a marine algae called zooanthole, which lives in their tissues. When corals become stressed, which can be due to a number of issues, the algae leaves the organism, thus also causing the loss of colour and a food source. This affects the marine life that have any type of relationship with the corals, as they no longer have a home, protection, or food source. Some causes of coral bleaching include overexposure to sunlight, runoff and pollution from the mining and building industries, water temperature, and extreme low tides. The main cause is climate change and carbon pollution in the water, which causes water temperatures to increase and therefore causes more bleaching events. A case study documented by Laura Richardson in the Global Change Biology Journal focused on the damselfish and cardinalfish populations within the Great Barrier Reef. This is a good representation of the effects of coral bleaching on marine diversity and overall reef health. A rapid decline in these species was noticed after a documented bleaching event in February of 2016, when the water temperature rose to 32.8 degrees Celsius and stayed that way for at least 8 weeks. These species are coral cleaners and help the coral by removing algae and seaweed. Because of this ability, coral depends on these populations in order to recover from bleaching events. The decrease in fish populations has caused coral reef damage to become more permanent as the coral can no longer recover. This has some form of an upside as more species have found a habitat in the corals. There have been many studies conducted on the overall health of the Great Barrier Reef and how extensive the damage of coral bleaching is. These have been collected through aerial imaging, underground imaging, and maps. According to a study published in the National Geographic magazine, the August 2018 issue, over half of the Great Barrier Reef is dead. 30% of the coral population died in 2016, and the other 20% died in 2017. Another study done by the ARC Centre of Excellence Coral Reef Studies states that 93% of the coral reef has been damaged in some type of way over the years. The effect on the coral population ranges from very severe to minor. Because of these effects, a study also focused on new corals as they wanted to see if the bleached areas affected the regeneration of the reef. This showed that coral births had decreased by 89%. This decline in coral regeneration proves that the coral reef is already beyond repair, as even a new generation cannot replace the population already lost. Coral reefs are very important in the marine ecosystem and are heavily relied upon by the tourism and fishing industries. Coral reefs protect coastlines and provide habitat and shelter for many marine organisms. They are also involved in nutrient recycling as they are a main provider of nitrogen within the waters. This also explains the involvement in carbon and nitrogen fixing. The beauty of the Great Barrier Reef and its marine life is the main attraction for the tourism industry, and the various marine populations provide for the fishing industry as well. Without coral reefs, these industries will be damaged. The damage to the reefs will also affect fish populations, coastlines will be unprotected, and nitrogen and carbon percentages will be affected. This explains the need for coral reefs as well as the diversity of species that they house, as without them, marine organisms and industries will be damaged, more so than they already are. Luckily, there are many organisations who are doing as much as possible in order to prolong the reef's survival while also trying to help it recover from bleaching events. Some of these include Reef Teach, Citizens of the Great Barrier Reef, and Tarangoa Blue, and they've been added to my Trello post in order for anyone interested to read a little bit more about them. These organisations have provided in-depth studies and statistics on the Great Barrier Reef's health. This information can be used to further group and individual efforts to save the reef. A main issue that is causing coral bleaching is climate change. Therefore, by trying our best to reduce our environmental footprint, we're indirectly helping the Great Barrier Reef. In order to save our reefs, we can educate others on climate change and coral bleaching, support conservation organisations, reduce, reuse, recycle, try and reduce plastic waste, and volunteer to clean up beaches and waters. By doing these small things, we can help our environment and save our marine life. Thank you guys for watching. I hope all this information was useful.